Hello guys, Crispy here, welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, I'm going to be testing the Radeon RX 5700 XT in 2025. And guys, I gotta say, this is actually a heck of a deal right now on the used market. Holy. Let's go over its specs first. The 5700 XT released back in 2019, so it's 6 years old already, and it has 2560 shading units, 160 TMUs, 64 ROPs, 8GB of GDDR6 VRAM running on a 256-bit memory bus. It also consumes 225 watts of power. It's based on the RDNA 1.0 architecture, and it released at $399 MSRP. These days, however, you can find it very often on the used market, and it sells for around $100 to $150, sometimes lower than that, which is a pretty crazy deal. Let's install it in the test system and see what it can do in 2025. Shall we? Let's start with Cyberpunk 2077 at 1080p resolution, utilizing the high preset without resolution scaling that comes on by default. I also disabled these options, motion blurs, chromatic aberrations, but everything else is set to high. And guys, I'm not sure why I wasn't really expecting to see 60 plus all of the time here. It might actually drop still from 60 FPS, especially around Bob's roundabout, which is extremely intensive, and we're going there of course, but I mean, this is a totally playable and stable experience at 1080p native resolution. This is really good, especially considering the price of this thing, you know? Goodbye, Bob! There we go. This is it, guys, dropping down sometimes into the lower 60s. This is Bob's roundabout, and very, very intensive, and it gets around 69 FPS on average. That is beautiful. This is amazing, my friends. What the heck? I was not expecting this once again. It's likely going to be a very interesting video. Oh boy. Let's enable that FSR on quality. If you're wondering about the results, here we have it. It does get a way more shimmery look. It still looks decent, especially on a smaller monitor, but I'm using a 27-inch 1080p monitor here today, and I can notice a lot more shimmering with FSR enabled than without it. And since it was already 60 plus all of the time, goodbye, Bob, once again. It didn't even finish the sentence. Beautiful stuff. Oh, wait, Bobby's still alive. Yeah, I just stick to native resolution, but hey, if you want a little bit higher FPS, it's possible here with FSR's help. There we go. Alright guys, we have a problem here in Counter-Strike 2. At 1080p resolution using the competitive settings with 4 times MSAA, we are still CPU bound. So a faster CPU would actually get you more FPS in this particular title, guys. Alright, it's kind of insane because I thought this was going to be GPU bound at 1080p with 4 times MSAA, but no. You know, but I doubt that you will actually have a faster CPU than something like the 12600KF at 5.1 gigahertz. Yeah, I gotta concentrate here. Also, I'm feeling the AWP today, my friends. It actually is going really well. Come on, get over here, buddy, please. Hello? I know you're there. Show yourself. Thank you very much. Okay, and goodbye, Sir Jack. We actually are killing Jack quite a few times here in this one. I don't like that. Maybe I will let him live in the next one. Oh my, that guy missed everything. Alright, no scoping action over here. Come on. So yeah, guys, if you have a low budget for your graphics card and you want to play Counter-Strike 2 competitively with a high refresh rate monitor at 1080p, this will still... How did I miss that one? This will still do the job absolutely fine. That's the beauty of playing competitive titles, guys. They're usually optimized. Marvel Rivals isn't. Alright, there we go. Another one. Oh, come on, stop it, dude. You're scaring me sometimes. There we go. We killed Jack again. If I had known he was Jack, I wouldn't have killed him. I would let him kill me and hug me all of the times. Come on. There we go. Good, 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 good. The eagle action. Oh, yeah, hello, sir. We're doing great in Counter-Strike today. Oh, yes. There we go. Another kill. Hey, hello? No, I missed. Jack got us. I'm glad I missed, my friends. This was all planned, of course. Wait, hello. What are you doing there? Oh, my. Oh, it was Jack. I'm sorry, dude. I I'm not even sure how I'm hitting these shots today. It's going way better than usual. Hello there. Hello there. Goodbye, both of you. Goodbye, you too. Come on. Okay, I thought he was going to take more advantage of that spawn protection. Who is he shooting at? Oh, this guy. Okay. Oh, boy. All right, another one down. I saw one by short. Okay. There, over there. Come on. There we go. I got him. Good stuff. And, well, let's just get that one as well. Thank you. I actually helped Jack over there. Or Jack helped me, I guess. Yes. There we go. The headshotting boy won't get us this time around. 2 bullets, 2 kills, probably. Never mind. I'm fine. I'm fine. Not liking to kill these guys from behind, but you know, I'm on a streak. I need to keep my first place. I think it's kind of secured, actually. We got 700 points. The second one got 500. Okay, yeah, I can just chill from now on. There we go. Beautiful shot. What the hell is going on? I'm loving this. Oh, my goodness. Okay, another one down. Hello. Oh, missed that. There we go. All right, I'm rectifying it. Okay, let's go. There it is. I'm recting it, not rectifying it. Yes. No! Hey, what? Okay, all right. That was so weird. But it worked. All right, guys. So I guess that's about it for Counter-Strike 2. The FPS don't matter as much here. It's a high refresh rate experience all of the time. It's a really smooth one. And we got 79 kills. That was awesome. Next is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, a recent title at 1080p utilizing native resolution and SMAA 1X with the high settings preset. Now this looks really shimmery, as you can see over there, because of the anti-aliasing technique that we're utilizing, but I prefer this to the super blurry look of Filmic SMAA T2X or 2TX, whatever. But as you can see, if you're fine with some shimmering to preserve some of the details here, it actually gets you 60 plus FPS pretty much at all times at 1080p high. This is super similar to what the RTX 4060 delivered in this title. And look at that frame time graph. It is absolutely amazing, guys. But yeah, even here inside of a forest area, approaching some bushes and stuff, it drops down into the low 60s, but it doesn't really drop from 60. And I mean, if you utilize some FSR native AA, for example, it will look way better than this shimmery mess right now. But it will also drop down your FPS by quite a bit. It's about a 10% drop in FPS, and that will make it drop from 60 frames per second, unfortunately. I'm actually going to try that out, FSR native AA. So we were seeing 66 FPS there standing still, and now we're getting 57. That's a bigger drop than 10%, actually. I mean, it's... yeah, I guess you still lose a little bit of detail compared to SMAA 1X. So it's a double-edged sword. If you hate shimmery edges, you're gonna hate SMAA 1X, but if you don't mind it, you're gonna have good experience, of course, in terms of FPS and visuals. And if you use FSR native AA, you're gonna see some drops into the 50s, often inside of forest areas and stuff like that. Outside of them, you can still get 60 plus, as you can see right here, not too bad. I'm not sure what I would utilize here. I would probably go with SMAA 1X, but that's just me. And obviously, if you drop it down to the medium settings preset instead of the high settings preset, while keeping FSR native AA enabled, now we can get back to those 70s that we were seeing before without the FSR native AA. And it still looks really good. There's just going to be a bit more popping and shimmery, flickery shadows basically everywhere in your picture. Just want to go inside of a big forest area, get a lot of vegetation. Check it out here, for example. Yeah, not a problem. Doesn't really drop from 60, even from 70 FPS. We got 1% lows of 69 now. I mean, can you ask for better 1% lows than that? Come on. Next is Marvel Rivals at 1080p using the lowest settings, because every time I test it at higher settings, people complain because, well, it is a competitive shooter after all. You want the best FPS possible, and this is pretty decent. As you can see, it gets us 100 plus average FPS, even with all of these effects going on here. It's still keeping it at above 120, and obviously if you were were to play on like medium or high settings or even ultra settings, it would drop by a lot. Especially because this is a UE5 title and it has Lumen, so that's software ray tracing, and obviously, yeah, 5700 XT plus ray tracing it's not gonna go well. Or plus Lumen, oh my goodness. Please, we need some healers, guys. We need some healers, please. Oh boy, these are easy level bots actually, but they're so hard. Actually, oh, what the heck? If you don't have a team, you're screwed. You know? So yeah, if you want to play Marvel Rivals and you want a little bit more of a kick, if you're stuck with something slower than this GPU, yeah, grabbing this for $100 to play at a high refresh rate at 1080p native resolution is actually not a bad idea. If you want higher FPS, there's always frame generation, which I wouldn't utilize because... well, now it's working properly, finally. They actually fixed it. The last time around that I tried frame gen in this game, or FSR frame gen actually, it wasn't working, but now it is. But it increases the input lag, so I don't see the point of utilizing this unless you want to smooth out your frame times, because it does that very well, as you can see. And what I'd end up using for higher FPS, probably FSR quality here. Although I don't really see a major need to do so because it was already a really nice experience without it. But as you can see, this gives us slightly higher FPS. I was expecting a higher FPS jump coming from native to FSR quality. So this is a little bit underwhelming actually. Still seeing like 120s. I guess now it doesn't drop from 120 frames per second ever. So... no, it does. 107 minimum. It's very close to the native resolution stuff once again. Seems like FSR is a bit more demanding than it should be in this title. Now it's S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, a little bit of a disaster of a UE5 title at 1080p using the low settings. FSR native AA is being utilized, FSR frame generation is off, and well, with these settings, low settings, yes, my friends, we're getting sub 60 frames per second. I mean... after seeing Cyberpunk at 60 plus, at 1080p native high settings, with those graphics, you know, this is not impressive whatsoever, is it? And Kingdom Come Deliverance as well at 60 plus, high settings, 1080p, this is low settings. The pop-in is insane. Look at those shadows there. It's terrible. They start showing some decent definition. I mean, it's not even decent. Like, these up close look worse than Kingdom Come Deliverance's shadows at a kilometer away, I guess. I mean, yeah, some of the textures still look really good, even though this is low settings, you know, but we don't really have an issue with VRAM. It's not related to the textures why we're getting so low FPS. It's just the optimization, and it's Lumen as well. Once again, Nanite lowering down the performance like crazy. We could utilize like upscaling FSR quality, but that would look really terrible. So I'm just going to add FSR 3.1's frame generation on top of what we saw previously to smooth out everything. And now we can get 100 FPS. Things look a little bit softer as well. It's like you applied some anti-aliasing here, I guess, or TAA instead of the native AA from FSR. But it doesn't look too bad, and I guess... it gets 90 FPS, but the thing is, in terms of responsiveness and input lag with that frame generation enabled, it's not good, guys, for a first-person shooter. I could still live with it, and especially if you have a controller, for example, it's going to be a good experience and feel responsive and stuff, because you can't really notice input lag as much with the controller. But with mouse and keyboard, turning the camera around just feels a little bit off. But this is the only way to achieve 60 plus FPS consistently in this game, dropping into the 70s here. And the lower the FPS, the higher the input lag will be, so it's pretty bad over here, but thankfully you shouldn't really need to kill people or shoot at people here, so it's fine unless you want to say, goodbye, Bob! And guys, since we are in sort of a UE5 streak, let's try the finals at 1080p using FSR native AA, 90 FOV, and high settings. And guys, this is also a competitive title, but I just wanted to showcase the performance of it and the optimization of the finals, basically, which is quite good, as you can see. This is native resolution at 1080p. Ah, boy. Oh boy. Okay, maybe we can do this. Yes, nice. Very good. Hello, buddy. Thanks for the no help. Okay. Also, it's a little bit shimmery here and there, though, but that's probably because of FSR native AA. The finals developers could optimize their game pretty well, but they can't really fix all of the visual imperfections of UE5, apparently. Get that guy. There we go. Good stuff. Come on. There's the cash or whatever the crap that is. Good. There we go. There we go. Hold to steal. No, no, no. There's another one. Guys, please. Wait. What am I doing? Oh, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Thank you. Thank you. My boy actually helped us. But yeah, this is actually a pretty good experience. Once again, not too surprising because I already knew that this game was well optimized. But if you didn't know, saying that this is a UE5 title might put you off, but it shouldn't. Now, it's Call of Duty Black Ops 6 at 1080p resolution using the Ultra settings. The only thing I changed was depth of field. I turned it off because it looks terrible in this game. And here we go. This is Nuketown Team Deathmatch. We're getting very similar FPS actually to what we saw in the finals. 90, 100 at times, dropping into the 80s sometimes probably. So yeah, it's going to be a smooth experience. Very nice. Kind of high refresh rate, not really competitive, but I mean, this is Ultra settings. You can lower it down a lot, of course. And it's impressive that it can actually handle this with Ultra settings. It doesn't look super impressive, obviously, because, well, it's Call of Duty. The graphics don't really change that much year on year, but, oh no, are we on fire? No, I don't think so. What the heck? But, well, at least you can still play the latest Call of Duty title, even on a 5700 XT. I'm always saying, like, even on, like, it's a slow GPU. It's not a slow GPU. It's similar in performance to, like, a 1080 Ti, the legend, you know? But given how intensive games have become and how powerful, super powerful the latest GPUs are, consuming a lot of power and stuff like that, you know, this is not bad by any means. It's actually a little bit impressive. People are just sliding everywhere. Look at that. Oh my, look at that. They just, instead of turning corners, they slide corners. It's so weird in this game. People try way too hard. Where the, god damn it. I miss the old days, guys. The Black Ops 1 days in Call of Duty. Those were awesome, actually. But hey, I guess that's because I am a complete noob at this game. Dropping into the 70s. This is a friendly guy. Okay, yeah. Lots of smoke effects and stuff right there. Not a problem. Yeah. Bro, my... Let's move on. Next is the beautiful Red Dead Redemption 2 at 1080p using Benchmark King's optimized settings. And these settings provide a really nice quality to performance ratio. As you can see, it looks great, although the TAA is pretty bad. It's on medium this time around. A lot of you asked me to do this on medium TAA instead of high TAA, and it's still super blurry. Okay, so either way you go, it's always going to be a blurry mess in this game, unfortunately. But at least you can enjoy it, and it's going to be a great story anyways. And aside from that blurriness, it looks awesome, of course, and it will be running really well at 80-ish frames per second on average so far. This isn't really an intensive area, I'm going there, okay, but it's kind of crazy to see 90s and 80s. Again, given the age of this GPU and the price point of it in today's used market, you know, sometimes it's just nice to go back to older hardware that is actually good value these days, you know, and see it play games that look beautiful anyways with good FPS, and they're just not broken like today's games. Bob's over here. Come over here with me, Bob. Sing for us. Sing. You can do it, Bob. Come on, Bob. Please sing for us. It's been... There we go. He sang a little bit. He usually sings more than that. And we're finally in Strawberry, which is one of the most intensive areas in the entire game. And it's only dropping us into the 70s minimum, I guess. Like 74 right here. Okay, that's actually really stable. 69, 1% lows. What is it with 69 and this GPU, right? On the 1% lows and averages of games. I don't get it, but hey, it's very nice indeed. That guy just fell there. Amazing. See, that's what you get for protecting Bob. Now it's Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and we're playing at 1080p utilizing FSR native AA. Otherwise it will look really shimmery, this one, and the high settings preset. And well guys, I actually said this was Spider-Man 2, but I completely forgot. It's Stutterman 2. As you can see, it has a ton of issues with stuttering and an inconsistent frame time graph, which go away if you enable frame generation, by the way, or if you lock your FPS to something lower than what you get usually. But yeah, if I start counting FPS, the 1% lows are terrible right away just because of those frame time spikes. So either lock the FPS to like 50 frames, since that's about the minimum that we've seen so far, 49 here, 46, so maybe like 45 I guess instead, and play and get used to that 45 FPS experience, or turn on frame generation, because running this game at unlocked FPS is a terrible idea. I still don't understand how it's been like 3 or 4 weeks since the game came out and they still haven't fixed or done anything towards fixing that issue. It's super annoying actually. But as you can see, enabling frame generation here on high settings does make the stuttering go away. It's way more stable. Now I can actually start counting our frames here. 1% lows should be decent enough. And swinging around these areas with a lot of vegetation and stuff, which is the most intensive thing actually that you can do in this game, it doesn't drop too much, okay? Now the starting FPS weren't at 60 all of the time, so that means that the input latency is going to be noticeable here, but given the nature of the game, you know, it's not only a single player title, but it's a third person title, and you don't really need to shoot at things very often, and there's aim assist and everything like that. I think this is actually a decent experience with the frame generation enabled, and I would, in this case, prefer it with FG enabled, even though the base FPS weren't at 60 plus once again, than without any frame generation whatsoever, because right now it is actually a smooth experience. Now, something that doesn't run that well on this GPU is Alan Wake 2. This game is at 1080p resolution right now using the low settings preset, which has some things set to medium and high, and as you can see, it's getting us around 40 frames per second, 30s, 20s. Alright, I didn't really expect to see 20s. Now, the performance is very poor here in this game because this GPU doesn't have mesh shaders, and this requires mesh shaders to run properly. But yeah, this is basically an unsupported GPU for this game, just like the GTX 10 series, and although they have updated the game to run better on the 10 series, it's still rough even on something like a 1080 Ti, although it does perform a little bit better than the 5700 XT over here. Still, guys, I mean, they worked somewhat towards optimizing the game for these cards, otherwise we would still see 20 FPS. But it is pretty bad of an experience, honestly. And here we have Apex Legends at 1080p resolution, utilizing the max settings, aside from this one right here. Okay, so this is actually pretty good. While looking at the map from the sky, it's usually very intensive, and it's still above 100 FPS. What? Alright, we just landed. I'm gonna start counting the frames. Wow, that's really good. I mean, it's expected once again. The game isn't really old. The GPU was a beast when the game came out, actually. And it's also only 1080p resolution, right? So it should do a great job, but it's been a while since I've tested Apex Legends, so it's nice to see these FPS and that buttery smooth frame time graph as well. I don't even know what the most intensive area in this entire map is, but right now we're getting 200s, guys, and 169 average, of course. Well, you know what? I'm actually gonna throw the ultimate right here because there are enemies somewhere around here in this area, and I'm gonna throw smokes as well in the middle of the chaos, and we're gonna see some explosions now in this missile over here, so it doesn't even drop from 100 FPS, guys. Look at that. 5700 XT stretching its legs in the Apex Legendario, the Legend of the Apex. So yes, okay, let me reload this. I think I got that one, maybe, a little bit. He might be down, I don't know. There's another one there. There we go. Headshot. There's a squad behind me as well. Oh, this is gonna suck. Okay, what am I supposed to do? Alright, one down. How the hell did that even happen? Okay, there's another one somewhere around there, I guess. Oh! Anyway, that was a nice run. I liked it. The performance is great. Next is Ghost of Tsushima at 1080p resolution using FSR native AA and the high settings preset. And guys, this actually defaulted to medium for some reason. And I thought, nah, let me try high settings first. Maybe it's going to be I mean, this is phenomenal. Once again, for the price of the GPU, this is awesome performance, guys. Damn, you can spend 100 to 150 bucks, play AAA titles, some of them, of course, at 60 plus FPS. That's awesome. All right, here we go. This is the Golden Temple area, by the way, one of the most demanding, if not the most demanding area in the entire game, and it's still absolutely fine. And you know what? This is a good baseline to enable some frame generation. The FG in this game works pretty well because it's FSR 3.1's FG. I will try it out, guys. Okay, I don't care. Like, with a baseline of 80, the input lag is almost negligible, honestly. And now we're up into the 130s. Damn, and the frame time is so buttery smooth. It's so amazing, guys. I love testing this game. Ghost of Tsushima looks great. Obviously, it's not super graphically impressive because of its textures and art style, basically. But I think it still looks really good, and the art style is on point, basically. They nailed it, in my opinion. And they also nailed the optimization on PC, as you can see, guys. Another UE5 title, guys. Black Stutter Wukong at 1080p, utilizing FSR 100% resolution, so it's native AA from FSR, and the medium settings to achieve 60 FPS. Now, it still drops a lot, as you can see, of course, and even with FSR native AA, things are really pixelated. Look at the legs of the monkey here running. Yeah, that doesn't look good in my opinion. The only anti-aliasing that looks good here in this particular title is the LAA, which unfortunately we don't have on the 5700 XT. It's not that it's a bad experience if you really want to play this game on a 5700 XT. It's great that you can with around 60 FPS, but around Act 3, which I can't for the life of me get to, I just die every time. I can't get out of this place, alright? This is not the least intensive area, but it's also not the most intensive area. And by Act 3, you'll be dropping into the 40s. And on low settings, it actually looks really bad. So, I don't know. I think I would just not play this. However, if you really enjoy the gameplay, I'm a little bit biased here because I don't like it. I got no complaints about how the GPU is handling the game. I just think that the game should be better optimized, and it really isn't. It should run better than it does. I'd rather play something else, but it is going to be playable if this is your jam. Well, how about some Battlefield? We're playing at 1080p resolution, high settings. It's the latest installment, 2042, and it's getting 90 FPS at 1080p. That's a joy to look at. Actually, it's not really that much of a joy to look at because the game itself... I prefer to look at Battlefield 1, for example. What is that? That's a body. What the... Why is it dropping like that in slow motion? And why is it dropping at all? That was so weird. Anyways... If you want to play 2042, it's actually going to be a really sweet experience. Once again, kind of expected. It's a 2021 title, if I'm not mistaken. Come on. It ran very well even on a GTX 1060, for example, like medium settings, I believe, 60 FPS, 1080p. So 5700 XT being similar to a 1080 Ti. Of course, it gets way higher FPS than that. The optimization in Battlefield games is always pretty good, especially after a few months of it releasing. It usually has some stuttering issues at the beginning and some other problems, but once they iron it out, it's actually a good-looking game, and it performs pretty well. But you know what? I think good old Battlefield 1 deserves a spot in this list. So let's try it out. No way it's gonna get 200 FPS down there. Guys, we are at 1080p using ultra settings. 100% resolution scale. No! What? How it... This looks so good. And it performs so well. I am speechless at this point. Battlefield 1. What have they done? What kind of black magic optimization is this? This is so insane. Oh boy, oh, they're everywhere. Go buy this game if you have a 5700 XT. If you don't have this GPU and you have something slower and you want to play this with 200 FPS, go buy a 5700 XT. This game is totally worth it. I actually upgraded my GPU when this game came out just to play it. I upgraded to a 1060. It still runs it phenomenally, okay? But yeah, 200 FPS. I have no words. And here we have Stutter Night at the 1080p resolution, DirectX 12, utilizing the epic settings, but I disabled Nanite Virtualized Geometry, which also disables the Lumen, which is software ray tracing. Very intensive stuff, so you don't want that with this GPU. But yeah, as you can see, things are pretty smooth even while dropping from the bus. We're not getting major stuttering issues. What have they done? Did they actually fix their game, finally? Yeah, they probably did, but I know that the next season is just gonna wreck everything again and be stuttery again. It's a cycle, my friends, alright? But anyway, we're down here, guys, getting 70-ish frames per second. This is a pretty intensive area, apparently, because I have played it once already, and I dropped in a woods area, and it was getting around 80 frames per second most of the time. Alright, we got a car here, that's nice. That took cover more area here in the benchmark run. But yeah, this is not going to drop from 60 FPS, so it's actually a really stable experience, and right now while driving it actually stutters a little bit, so it's back to Stutter Night. Beautiful. But yeah, guys, if you want to play this game with really pretty graphics, because it still looks great even though we're not using Lumen and Nanite, yeah, you can definitely do so. It's always going to stay above 60 FPS no matter what with the 5700 XT, and that's just beautiful to see. And if you want a super high refresh rate experience, that's also going to be possible if you play with like performance mode, but make sure that you have a fast CPU then, because otherwise you'll be CPU bound. But that's about it for Fortnite, guys. We got some beautiful colors right now during sunset. It is awesome, actually. And finally, before we go to the conclusion, and I'll have more games there, this is the good old GTA 5 at 1080p with 4x MSAA and my custom optimized settings for this game, which makes it look really pretty in my opinion and perform very well compared to maxing out everything. For example, I'm gonna start counting our FPS right here, and as you can see, it's going to be a very nice experience, guys. And this is with 4x MSAA. If you use like 2x, it goes up to 150 and 160, and sometimes it might actually hit the engine limit of 188 frames per second and make it stutter. So you should probably stick to 4x MSAA in this one. Oh boy, I'm sorry people. Okay, also if you're wondering what the 4x MSAA does and why it's so intensive, it's just anti-aliasing, you know, but it's a very good form of AA. It doesn't make things blurry like TAA does, for example, and it actually looks super crispy, and it does an amazing job of smoothing out those jagged edges that are very noticeable in this title if you leave it off. Now, this is one of the most intensive areas in the game, and it actually drops into the 70s, as you can see, low 70s at times. Jack, here he is. Actually, no, this is Jack. Hello, Jack. I love you, buddy. It's good to see you here. Of course, he's here with the 5700 XT. That's because this GPU is actually worth it. Okay, and going over in these bushes gets really intensive, guys. Dropping into the 70s and 60s even. Also, goodbye, Bob. There we go. Perfect. Absolutely perfect experience with this GPU at 1080p in GTA 5. And it is conclusion time, my friends, and the RX 5700 XT, guys. You know it by now. I'm going to recommend this. If you can buy it for 100 euros or close to that price, it is a heck of a deal, and especially if you don't care about ray tracing, of course, or the upscalers, because, you know, FSR is decent, especially FSR 3.1, but most games don't support that version of FSR, and it ends up looking pretty rough at 1080p resolution. But the good news is you don't really need upscaling in most of the games. even recent ones. This thing will chew through everything that you throw at it at 1080p, and it's so great, guys. I mean, I was not expecting this kind of performance in most of the games that we tested here today. I thought, well, I bought it for 120 euros, it can't be that great, can it? But it was. Remember the days of the RX 580 being a super nice deal on the used market and GTX 1066GB? This feels like that, but in the modern days. But yeah, this was quite something here. I actually bought this card brand new back when it came out as well. It was my main GPU in 2020, I believe, all throughout that year until NVIDIA actually sent me the first GPU that they ever sent me, the 3060 Ti. But yeah, I had so much fun with this card right here, and it can still play a ton of the games these days. And I am very impressed that even 6 years later, it's still a very capable graphics card, and it's down to a very sweet price point, you know? So yeah, if you're looking for a GPU in this budget, 100 to 150 bucks, I think the 5700 XT can't be overlooked, and you should consider it. Thanks very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one very soon. As always, love you all. Bye-bye.